We're back with Richard Reviews. Today we are reviewing a book for richardreviews.com/GriffinChestnut here on YouTube. Today's book that Richard will be reviewing for us is titled The Tibetan Book of Living and Dying by Sogyal Rinpoche. This is a new spiritual classic from one of the foremost interpreters of the Tibetan Buddhist to the West. According to the New York Times Book Review, as a guide to the Tibetan tradition and its insights into life and death, Sogyal Rinpoche is without peer. This is a classic spiritual guidance book. This has been on Richard's radar for quite some time, probably over 12 years. This is one of the oldest books that Richard has had an age fathom to. He felt inclined to create this review along with his most recent written thesis that he uploaded in the blog. You can click the link in the description for this in detail. And he uploaded that in 2014 along with his Gnosis blog that he commandeered about 2 years later after that, since he is as much as a student of the Tibetan language as he is a follower. This was symbolically not the case for Richard, as he found it interconnectedly responsible for his cosmic dialectic language to produce such a magnum piece such as the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. We're going to take a look at this piece and exactly what entails this piece. This is Richard's piece. It's his personal piece, so we have to keep it in good condition, as Richard does. Richard keeps all of his pieces in the most best condition that one could keep any piece. This is a signature piece that was handcrafted and hand-delivered to Richard himself. This is the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. This is a spiritual classic and informed and idolized version of order and chaos many times before. There is an Egyptian phallus to this, in which Richard finds the vegetables, and he then crops the vegetables, just like that. We're going to take a look at this piece here, and we're going to see here the full dynamic of this, how one can understand just what makes one beautiful, and the disturbing evidence behind each one. So right off the bat, you can see the primitive notion. There's a one-click and a two-click, and the one-click follows through, and the two-click delves out into a branch, and you can find it split, and it splits and folds back. Okay, that's what's great about this book, is the notatic breakingness. This forms a different review and a spiritual resonance, mystical guidance for the Tibetan book himself, Mr. Sogyal Rinpoche, Sogyal Rinpoche. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's take a look at the book and the condition. So, as you can see, it is a soft cover, and it is a pretty decent sized book. The girth is up there with its substantial Neandernism. And it is a long book. It's tall. It's thin, but tall. And you can tell that through the weight. The weight of this has a gritty fascism to it. And if you've ever prayed before, Richard says to read this piece and pray again. So the bottom cream is pretty good. Richard keeps all of this in good condition. There is some flare-up on this side. This is just some wear and tear damage. And there's more flare-up over here. And even on the top, more flare-up. On the side, It says Sogyal Rinpoche, the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying, and the Irrelevant, Ignorant, and Circumcision of the Publishing Book Club's Automatic Refutal, which is a diagnostic point of view. Of course, in the back, we have the Negligence, Supreme Synapse, author biography, and a substantial book club memorabilia, along with the price and the barcode. Everything is brought down to a south and dilated to the west. South and to the west. Dilation, dilation. Okay. Not Richard's favorite in terms of placement of the dilation in the back cover, but in terms of an overall package, this one makes the mark. 2 thumbs up from Richard. Richard agrees. The price is appropriate. The barcode is inappropriate. Richard claims the barcode should be positioned more to the west. More to the west. Should be inclined maybe in the 2nd diameter or even the 3rd up top. North or south, doesn't matter. Let's take a look at the man behind the writing himself. Here he is, Mr. Sogyal Rinpoche. He is a master of the spiritual world, a lecturer, and a beautiful man. He has done Buddhist groups and beautiful work throughout the world. And his first book that he read, he was the age of 2. A nice man with a beautiful pair of glasses. He is a king of his time. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Solji. And the price. The price we have $17 USA, $25 Canadian. So this price is well under the $20 limit that Richard has since he's a US citizen. And he got this book legally through a Canadian export in the Yukon Valley region from his private contractor, Mr. Ron Johnson. And there, of course, is the bookmark. Now, as we take a look inside. Meditation. These are markings from the previous owner, Mr. Ron Johnson himself, which he's really going to have to get better at, because ultimately this brings down the points in Richard's point system. But it's not a bad piece. There's a few markings throughout the piece through a spiritual path. And on the back end, we do have a prayer, and the first section is before meditation, and the second section is after meditation. This was written by Ron Johnson as a private message to Richard as he gave him this piece. A notable mention is, of course, Mr. Ron Johnson's spiritual enlightenment himself, a beautiful man. So thank you, Mr. Ron Johnson. For the official page count, towards the end we have 413, so we can confidently and fairly say that this piece is a 450-page magnum opus epic of the world's best and the world's worst. So thank you, Mr. Sogyal, and thank you, Richard. This is Richard Reviews, reviewing the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying by Sogyal Rinpoche. Thank you, Richard Reviews.